Here are the stories for this video. As always, don't forget to share and like if you enjoyed these videos. Without further ado, here we go! Am I the asshole for jumping out of a bathroom window to avoid my mom's attempt at forcing a reunion between me and my ex-fiancé? Some backstory. I had been dating my ex-fiancé Sarah for 4 years. We had been planning to get married in November 2020, but I found out at the start of this month that she cheated on me. She begged me to give her another chance, but I broke it off. The problem was that being cheated on is, in my mind, completely emasculating and humiliating. So I never told anyone that was the reason we broke up. For obvious reasons, Sarah also didn't tell people we broke up because she cheated. So people have blamed me for the breakup, including my mom. They just see that I dumped her out of the blue. I've gone very strict no contact with Sarah after I discovered she was cheating on me. Sarah has been talking with my mom and has convinced her that if we could talk one more time, we would be able to reconcile. My mom has been applying hardcore pressure on me to talk with Sarah, but I've explained that there is no chance we will ever get back together. So tonight I go over to my mom's place because she's hosting family for Christmas Eve. I'm there for a bit of talking with my aunts and uncles and cousins when the doorbell rings and I can see it's Sarah. I ask what the F is going on and my mom says she invited Sarah so we can work this out in the spirits of the holidays. I'm pissed now because the only way to explain my side of the story is to tell everyone I was cheated on. Complete humiliation in front of my whole family. So as my mom goes to the front door, I go into the bathroom. My mom starts knocking on the door, saying that I need to come out and talk to my ex like an adult. I say fuck it, kick out the window screen and get in my car and go home. My mom called a short while ago saying she's cutting ties with me over my behavior. She's really fixated on me jumping out of a window and that Sarah will always be like a child to her. My sister called me after to ream me out for ruining Christmas. I broke down and told her that Sarah cheated on me, which is why I dumped her and I didn't want to see her under any circumstances. She called me a big asshole who was lying to cover for myself. Am I really in the wrong? Fuck that. Your mom, Sarah, and your sister are all assholes. The nerve of her to show up at your mom's house. I'm pissed off just reading this. I gotta say though that OP honestly should have come clean at some point before it escalated to any of this. Yes, it shouldn't have been his family's business, and yes, she should have believed him when he said that he was cheated on, but come on, when you reach the point that you have to essentially break out of your mom's bathroom to get to your car and drive away to avoid telling someone what happened, you have to take a step back and see how that looks to people. Having said that, I think OP needs a long hard break from just about everybody and needs time to himself. Am I the asshole for saying my babysitting rates are $35 an hour? I'm a software engineer with a full-time job and a side hustle of doing freelance coding work in my own time. I've always been the type to have a side hustle I put a lot of my free time into. I get really bored sitting idle. My freelance hourly rates are $60 an hour, and at my full-time job, my hourly pay works out to about $40 an hour. So that's how I value my time. Anyway, over Christmas vacation, I was staying at my parents' house. My cousin was also staying over with her 3 young kids from Christmas to New Year's. I've been planning on doing some work on my freelance projects when I had free time. In the mornings when my family had no plans. I wasn't in any rush, I was already ahead of schedule on them all. But I didn't really have anything else to do. It was in a really rural area and it's like an hour drive to the nearest anything. Then my cousin and her husband asked if I could babysit all day for 3 days so they could visit some friends in the area and hang out with just adults. I said I had planned on doing freelance work at the library and she offered to pay me to babysit. I said I could if they get close to my freelance rate. She wanted a number and although my freelance rates are $60, I didn't feel like that was right. It was high, but I didn't want to go too low. Honestly, babysitting 3 kids would be harder for me than the routine coding work I had for my freelance project. I don't know a lot about kids and I've never babysat for long and I had a feeling it would be stressful and difficult. So I said $35 an hour, which is below what I make hourly at work and what is the bare minimum I would value my time for, if that time is spent doing difficult work. And she went crazy at me, saying that's a ridiculous rate for babysitting, that I was entitled and being selfish, that I'm trying to take advantage of how she didn't have any other options, etc. I said that's way below what I would be making if I had the time to do my own work, and I would be putting off my own work to babysit. Her husband then got mad at me, saying that I was a 24-year-old girl, that I'm damn near a child myself, that my time is not worth that much and it's childish to say that it was, and that I was a stupid girl for not knowing that babysitting costs like 15 bucks an hour. When I grow up and have kids of my own, I will see how stupid I was being. I was kind of done with being called stupid, so I just told them I hoped they could find someone else. My mom thinks that I asked for something offensive, and my cousin and her husband obviously did too. Am I the asshole for giving that number? Not the asshole. Free kids all day for 3 days straight? Even real babysitters would charge more than 15 for free kids. Obviously, they wanted you to do it as a favor and got upset that you treated it as an actual job. Exactly. I used to babysit at the age of 20, not a teenager, and other girls who babysit charged $15 per hour per child. If they took their children to a daycare, I believe it would be priced out the same. You don't get a bulk deal for having more kids. Not the asshole. I still babysit occasionally at almost 30, and I still charge $15 and don't charge more for other children, but parents are always surprised and relieved that I don't charge extra. In my city, $15 to $20 an hour is fairly standard, but it's also common to add an extra $5 an hour per sibling for multiple children. However, I don't think OP was being unreasonable given the circumstances. I babysit because I enjoy children and I take it very seriously. Children get my full attention. I never turn on the TV unless the parents directs me to, and I plan special crafts, games, story times, and activities for them. I also provide all the supplies. But I am very picky about what family and children I will work with. I am not shy about politely turning families down if I don't think it's a good fit or the children are out of control. A babysitter is an invaluable resource for parents, not a servant position for which the young female should be grateful to receive. Babysitters are the people who are being trusted completely alone with the care of your children. The attitude that babysitting is a menial, simple job for silly, young, and unintelligent girls and young women is offensive and stupid. Honestly, as parents now, my husband and I still won't leave our child with anyone other than grandparents, aunts, and uncles, and they are the ones begging us to let them babysit. But when we do eventually hire a babysitter, you better believe we will hire someone who actually considers themselves a babysitter, who takes as much pride and pleasure in it as I do, and they will be compensated and respected accordingly, whether they are 19 or 39. We would also never attempt to pressure or guilt anyone into watching our child for us. OP has a job and a side job she takes very seriously, and clearly it pays very well. She should not be forced to turn down work for a side job because relatives want cheap childcare. If they need childcare, they need to hire an actual babysitter, not attempt to force OP to become a babysitter for them. Being female does not make you an automatic babysitter, just as being male doesn't disqualify you from being an excellent babysitter. OP is clearly not a babysitter and her time is worth more than 15 bucks an hour in this situation. Am I the asshole for laughing uncontrollably at my son when he asked me to replace a Christmas gift he broke out of anger? I know I likely am, but the extent of which I am unsure about. My son is almost 17. This Christmas we bought him an expensive computer gaming chair as he plays a lot of online multiplayer shooters. My son has some anger issues, which he is currently in therapy for, and these shooters tend to bring out his temper more than normal. However, for the past few months, he has been keeping it together well, so I figured the chair might be a fair present. I was wrong, because the day after Christmas, he was gaming, started to have bad luck, and apparently people in-game were fucking with him because he was losing his patience. This culminated in him screaming insults and then picking up his chair and slamming it into the ground, breaking the back of it. After talking him down, we had a serious conversation about him no longer being allowed to play multiplayer games while under my roof until his therapist feels comfortable with his progress. talked about coping mechanisms, etc. However, I made it very clear this was unacceptable and he would be grounded. We've had these heart-to-hearts many times, so it's not like every time he has an outburst I'm making light of it. It's a serious issue and treat it like such. However, when he came to me later that day and told me he would like me to replace the chair because it was a gift, he really liked it and it would only be fair, the frustration, disbelief and disappointment in his behavior boiled over and I started laughing hysterically. As in full laughing fit, barely able to breathe or talk. The more he pleaded his case, the harder I'd laugh, repeatedly asking him how it was fair in his mind to have me replace a gift I paid for that he broke in anger. This obviously pissed him off more, which led to him getting emotional, but I just couldn't seem to stop myself. I tried walking out of the room and asking him to drop it, but every time he would say, "But I need a chair," or "What am I supposed to do now?" and I'd laugh again. I tried explaining that I'm not laughing at his feelings, I'm laughing at how absurd it is for him as a teenager to expect me to replace shit he can't be bothered to treat with respect and then whine about it when he broke it. He is still pissed about it and feels slighted. I feel bad for laughing and honestly wonder if I had some sort of mini stress break myself, because it's never happened before and I couldn't seem to stop. But at the same time, I stand by the fact that his request was ridiculous enough to make most people want to laugh. How badly did I fuck up? Not the asshole. You were laughing because he is absurdly entitled and deluded in thinking that was an appropriate request. Allow him to feel the consequences of his action. Don't enable him by shielding him from the consequences. I once broke something I really liked out of anger. Guess what happened after? Anytime I got angry, I figured out a better way to deal with it because I didn't want to feel the same way after I'd broken what I loved. I think you might be onto something. Not the asshole. I did the same thing and also learned the hard way. I threw my cell phone at the wall when I was maybe 15 out of anger because my high school boyfriend wouldn't answer my calls. It was one of those black LG flip phones. It turned back on, but it had a rattle in it and wouldn't connect to make calls. I guess I had broken the antenna. I begged and begged and begged my dad to take me to the AT&T store to get another one and he refused. I didn't get another phone until I had a job and bought a $49 phone from Metro PCS. No smartphones at the time still, and my parents made me pay my own plan. It took me a few weeks to get a new phone. I learned to stop breaking shit after that. So those were the stories for today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comments below. As usual, please like if you enjoyed these stories and subscribe if you want to stay up to date on more future videos. Thanks for listening and I will see you in the next video.